Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 677 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Marc Suprenant. And on this episode, we talk about falling in love with chiropractic, service, and making it simple. Stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Dr. Marc Suprenant on with me. This is episode 677. I'm really thankful for him taking the opportunity. It's been a couple years since I've been knocking on his door digitally to say, hey, come do a show with me. So the alignment is divine and he is here. Before we get into his story about how he got into chiropractic, I just found out that we're Iowa brothers. So he's from the other side of the state. I'm from the Davenport side of the state. So we're going to riff on that a little bit. But he wants to accomplish a couple things. And that's to teach people how to fall back in love with chiropractic after 25 years of practice. He wants to impress upon you the service aspect of the profession and how we can make it more simple for chiropractors to find their flow state when it comes to practice and success and mindset. I want to tell you why we do what we do over here at the Chiro Hustle Podcast. And one thing is most important to me is freedom of speech. That's why we host this show the way that we do. We've never censored anyone. We've never traffic throttled anyone. We've never shadow banned anybody. We know what that feels like. We'd never do that to you. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. We believe that they're not the same things, but if you are looking for family health freedom, find a chiropractor in your area and ask them to be your support when it comes to how to raise your kids healthy. I think that that's oftentimes looked over and most people just don't know where to go or who to trust. So if you're a chiropractor out there and you're listening to this and you believe more people need to get this message, please share the show. Share the show with your audience, share the show on your platform and get this message out to more people because people don't know enough about chiropractic. Philosophically speaking, we protect BJ Palmer's Sacred Trust. If you don't know what that is, go to our show notes and check it out. Click on the link. It's BJ Palmer's last words. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you ever did previously, I guarantee you. We do believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. Why do I have to say that? Well, they're taking it out of the chiropractic colleges. So if you know a chiropractic student, once again, get this information to the chiropractor students and the future of chiropractic will be better for it. That's why we do what we do. And we do believe in innate intelligence and universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual, and that creates educated intelligence. And with that, episode 677. Dr. Marc, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we blow it out there, right, for the first 2 minutes. But I think it's vital. It's vital. We have to come hard in the paint. We have to come hard with the message, and we have to have truth behind what we say. And if we don't, people see right through that.
Yeah, I recorded something in my parking lot. Every Monday, I just pace the parking lot, and I record something live for my patients and for my channels. And the thing I just said this week was it's like, you need to find yourself a good chiropractor, not just from the adjustment. Like, listen, the adjustment's amazing, but the principle and the leadership of a good chiropractor that can be in your life, especially as a new parent. We just had 3 newborn babies in this office about 3 hours ago. And so like, it's like I'm fascinated by the level that these families, that they're going to take their families through a different model because they have good leadership of good chiropractors in their life. And that's what's so amazing about that statement you made.
And for me, I didn't get chiropractic until I was 16. And I tell this story to a lot of people, but I wish that I had that opportunity at birth to have somebody check and adjust my spine. And I wish that my mom knew what it meant to have a chiropractic lifestyle when she was raising my whole family. And I was blessed that I found chiropractic when I was 16. And I always knew, when I was talking to you about how my career started, Matt Walker was like, hey, you want to come work at my office in Chicago? I was like, bro, I don't know anything about chiropractic except when I get adjusted, I feel better. He's like, that's enough. I'm going to teach you everything else you need to know. I'm glad that you know that much. So that's like how it starts. We have to start teaching people the right way and being able to facilitate knowledge to them and let them know, like, look, we have a lot of support for you. And that's the most beautiful thing about chiropractic is it is a very untapped resource. And if people just knew, like they've always said, there'd be lines around the city to come see you. Like a mission trip, if you go to a mission trip and you show up with your tables in a town square somewhere, there are lines of people waiting to just get adjusted.
Yeah. It's amazing. I actually went up to Asheville, North Carolina this last weekend, side note here. And I just felt this pull to go up to the mountains to go serve, but I was in Denver at Mile High, and then I went to T.J. Osborne's funeral last weekend. And so like I hadn't been able to get up there. And so the Asheville Dream Center was looking for somebody to come up and take care of their volunteers. And I adjusted like probably 60 to 70 people in the matter of like an hour and a half. And like the thankfulness that these people have, and these people have been serving for like 16, 17, 18, 19 days straight. And it wasn't really necessarily people coming over to get adjusted because they had back pain. I was just telling them, listen, your body's always better with the pressure off the nerve system than it is with on the nerve system. And all of them got up and they're just like so in such gratitude that somebody else is there serving them as they're serving the communities out there. Because you and I could probably get started on this. The government's not showing up out in Western North Carolina, the FEMA and National Guard and everybody, they're not showing up. It's the church, it's the people that are serving these people. So it is amazing when you just go out and serve with chiropractic, what kind of attraction you have to people. It's amazing.
So let's tell your story, man. Because I know that that's a big deal too. I don't want to like just walk right past that. Yeah. I do think that, there's one of my favorite bands of all time is Nirvana, and they had a song called Serve the Servants. And I think it is important for people to go and take care of the people that are serving. And I think it's so darn valuable. And who knows what type of spark you're going to create in these people's lives that they just knew that somebody was there to like check and detect and correct a vertebral subluxation. They just think that it's like a weight lifted off their shoulders. Yep. So kudos to you for showing up for that and doing that work.
Yep. Yeah. So my story here is, it's so funny is that I was at University of Iowa. So just down the road from where you grew up, in college, my third year, University of Iowa, I was 21 years old. I had asthma, allergies, headaches, stomach ulcers, digestive problems. And my academic advisor said to me one day, she goes, hey, you should go see my chiropractor. And you should go check out this school called Palmer College of Chiropractic down the road here. And I thought she was out of her mind because if you're third year pre-med, all you've been taught is chiropractors are quacks. The only thing I knew about chiropractic was my chiropractor back home had a big house and he was a good guy. And so she said, listen, she goes, I know that you don't have neck pain and back pain. She goes, 99% of chiropractors this is her quote at the time, 99% of chiropractors work with neck pain and back pain. They're pretty good with it, but 1% work with the healing power that God put inside your body. This is who you need to go see. And I was skeptical, but I actually ended up in Davenport, my first trimester at Palmer in 1995, across the street from your high school. Is where I got my first adjustment. And it was Dr. Robert Muschamp. He was an intern. And I started getting adjusted by this guy. He was a Canadian guy. And within weeks, my headaches started going down. And within months, I was off all 4 of my medications. I was playing rugby. I was playing baseball at Palmer. And I stopped using my inhalers. And it was like this thing clicked in me personally that I'm like, holy cow, if my body's functioning properly, and this is an intern that he's probably barely good at adjusting, but it still worked out really well for me that I got off all 4 of my medications. And, really from that moment on, the rest is history. I just really, truly believed in the principle, but really didn't have the fire for the principle yet, but just kind of understood it through my own personal experience as I went through it.
So much of what you said clicks with me because I just was at Cal Chiro speaking this past weekend, and I ran to Dr. Ram Besh. Dr. Besh was a staff doctor over there at Palmer. And he's like, I remember when you came over as a patient. I was like, bro, like you helped change my life.
Yeah.
And Dr. Anna Livdens, she was my staff doctor. Casey Crisp was my staff doctor. Like, I just remember like these people, like they would watch the docs do their NUCA adjustments on me. They would watch the docs do the diversified. They would put me on those little scales and see like how my body was balancing out. They would shoot the x-rays with me. Actually, the coolest part of all of this, when I went over at 16 years old to Palmer to get into chiropractic, I hurt my shoulder playing high school football at Davenport Central. My athletic trainer said, hey, you should probably go get some x-rays on this. So they sent me over to Palmer. They do some x-rays on my shoulder, and Dr. Anna Livdens, she's like, hey, can we x-ray your son's back and neck because he might have some subluxation? My mom, she was a nurse's aide. She's like, sure, sounds great. So they x-ray me specifically looking for subluxation. And that's how my chiropractic life started.
Probably around the same time I was there, right? So like that was probably 95?
1996.
96. So it was right around the same time. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I was a patient over there in pod 2. But it's interesting. But it's interesting how we get into this profession and how we didn't know the power of the adjustment and what it could actually do for us. And I always just knew that when I was playing soccer, I just ran better. I performed better. Like my off the ball skills were better. Yeah. And I just knew that when I was like, 99% of soccer is running. So I just knew that when I was like getting adjusted regularly, I just performed better. And it sounds like the same thing for you.
Yeah. And we would get adjusted before. This is great. When I'd get adjusted before rugby matches, we get adjusted afterwards to put ourselves back together again, and so same thing before tests. So even at a young age, even though I really didn't comprehend what chiropractic was, we just knew that getting adjusted just meant that we could focus better when we did tests. So always before our finals, we'd get adjusted. And then of course, before and after matches all the time.
Well, I know one of the parts of our conversation today you wanted to touch on was the service aspect of chiropractic. And after 25 years being a chiropractor, let's take that one home.
Yeah. What's crazy is that when I was in Kansas City, so after Davenport, when I graduated, I went down to Kansas City for 3 years. And I was lost as a chiropractor, completely lost. I didn't know how to, I was an independent contractor for a guy that was lost too, I think. So hopefully he doesn't see this or hear this. I think he'd agree that he was lost at this time too. And, but I was bartending 3 nights a week to make ends meet, to pay for bills, because I couldn't figure out how to, number one, get a new patient in the door. Number two, how to convert that new patient to a principal and to a care plan. And number three, how to keep them. And so like, I had zero clue. So here I am bartending. And then one day, there was a female chiropractor and her name was Eliza Kim in Kansas City. And she came up to me and she says, listen, she goes, you are way too charismatic and you speak too well to suck this bad as a chiropractor. You need to find yourself a coach. And so at the time we went and watched, you probably know who Dave Major is in CLA. We went and watched him do a screening, and I sat there and watched him speak chiropractic to all these people and just serve these people and just transform these people's lives by getting them signed up to come into offices. And I'm like, wait, here's this guy that's not a chiropractor and he knows how to speak chiropractic better than me. And I was just freaking blown away. And so that was about the time that I hired CJ Mertz, Waiting List Practice, hired him as a coach, and, just really started to get my stuff put together as far as like some processes in place. But really what it helped me understand is like the service aspect of like, this is just not a business. This is a calling. This is something that we get a chance to do, to go save and serve people. And so I've really taken that mentality, that message, that core of that, what chiropractic really is, there's always been a portion of my practice that I set aside to serving the community. And what's fascinating about it is that the more that I learn, the more that I can serve my community, whether it's through my church or going up to Asheville to do this, or going to people's houses to adjust their babies, or if it's going to the hospital, adjust babies, or adjusting people after surgeries. It's like, I always find out that the more that I serve, actually the more good that comes back to me than I could ever possibly imagine. And not going to serve to look for things to come back, but when I serve, good things just happen when I start serving.
Well, one of the big takeaways there is if your life sucks, go serve more.
That's a good call. Yes.
If your life sucks, figure out how to go serve more. If you're depressed, you have anxiety, you have depression, things aren't going well, go serve. Yeah. Go take care of people and put your best foot forward and go out there and contribute. And quit worrying about, oh, poor me, because no one else does either. So it's time to go out there and to serve chiropractic in a bigger step. But I think that that's really a great breakthrough for people to hear that. Like, you were lost. It did suck. You weren't happy. You weren't thriving. You weren't successful. But then you said, well, what can I do to make this better?
Yep. And I've got a great relationship with multiple churches and places, and multiple places in this community. But one of them is one of my best relationships, and people come to me all the time and ask me, how'd you get in with Elevation Church? And so Elevation Church is a big church out here in the West Coast, or the East Coast. And it's funny that when the church was small, I went and talked to the guy that was looking for volunteers. And I'm like, here I am, this guy, this is funny. You're going to love this, Chester. I'm traveling all over the country. I'm speaking at events. I'm speaking in front of tons of people. And I've got this little bit of a chip on my shoulder, ego. We're seeing like 1,100 a week in this office. Things are just rolling. And I go to this guy and he says, yeah, he goes, what do you think? What do you think you'd like to do? How would you like to serve here? And I'm like thinking like, oh, I'd like to speak. I'd like to do health ministry, blah, blah, blah. He goes, last time I had somebody in here with this big of an ego, he goes, I told him that he could either clean toilets on Sunday or he could work in the parking lot. He goes, which one do you want to do? And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, you know what? I'll go work in the parking lot is what I chose. And what's fascinating, that relationship though, I can't even tell you how many relationships, how many friends, how many connections, but how big that turned out, just going to serve with no ego. And like the doors that opened for me because of the connections that it made have been massive for the last 15, 16, 17 years since that happened. Just massive.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to hear that. And I personally, when I worked at my first chiropractic office, I opened the place, I closed the place. I vacuumed the floors, I did the soap notes, I washed the toilets, like I did all the things. So sometimes you have to like be on that like ground level to really appreciate the opportunity in front of you. And yeah, I think it's sometimes we need to get our egos checked, but dang, 1,100 a week.
We cranked for a little bit. For a little bit.
I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. Like when people see me like take my phone and I'm like on it when I'm doing interviews, I actually share it to 3 chat threads live, and I share it to my Facebook group page. But earlier today, this will give some real kudos to what you said earlier. I shared it to a group, and Dave Major's in one of them. Oh, and he said, nice job, Jim Chester. Because I shared my first interview of the day with Dustin Judd. And, it's nice though, because, I at this point, I've scheduled 11,000 new people into chiropractic.
That's so
and just this year, 1,000. So I think that it's really important for people to hear what I do also, because I'm not a chiropractor. And I can go out in any weekend, any given Sunday, if you will, and I can go out there and schedule in 30 to 50 new patients a weekend. And I love it. So a lot of times people joke around. I say, yep, Dave's my dad.
I was going to say, you're the next gen. You're the next gen, Dave Major. Hopefully he doesn't see this.
No, but Dave and I have supported each other for years now.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's great. Like even on my time hop of photos, like pictures of Dave and I pop up and I'm like, damn, I love that guy.
And you know, it's so amazing is that you come from such a unique position, not only just be able to educate chiropractors, but educate the community that like, you know, it's different when it comes from somebody like you because it's like, hey, look, I'm one of you. It's like here it is, and then people just hear the things differently and they're ready for that. You know, I love it.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle. And I look at everything as a game. I want to go out there and win. Like if I don't get double digits on a day, I suck. Like I have to go and like work hard. Like I want to schedule at least double digits every day. I go out there and stand in a 10x10 booth. That's my arena. I'm there to win. I'm there to save people's lives. I'm there to save people from drugs and surgery. If I don't tell them the truth about chiropractic, somebody else will convert them into drugs and surgery. So I have a chip on my shoulder to just go budge out there and say, look, I'm here to help you. You're not going to walk away today. You're going to come see us. So I'm like, I'm your advocate. Like you came over here for a reason. There's a reason that you're here talking to me today. So anyways, I think it's really important to stand in the gap and have a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Amen. Amen. Amen.
So coaching, I know that that's a component of your life. And I know that we were earlier talking about your own disconnect with success. And you leaned on somebody to coach you. And now, 25 years into the game, now you want to teach others how to run their practices the right way. And we were talking about how a lot of times people come out of school, they're disorganized, they don't know what direction to take, and they have a big ego like you mentioned that you might have had also. And they come out there guns blazing, pisiforms blazing, and they don't know how to actually grow a practice. So what is your advice to that?
Yeah. And I tell you, like I've seen it from all areas of it. Cause you know, I got coached by waiting list practice. I'm kind of a like they call it in the rugby world, they call it a rugby slut. If you go play for several different teams, I'm kind of like a chiro slut where I'll just like, I'll listen to anybody that's teaching about chiropractic. I've listened to your stuff. I've listened to you. I loved going out to Mile High, going to New Beginnings this weekend, been a part of Max the Living for a very long time, coached a ton of people over there, hundreds of people over there, hundreds and hundreds of people over there, and all various levels, coaching students, coaching new docs, coaching docs that have been in practice for a long time. And in one sense, there's a lot of differences between those groups, whether it's a student, whether it's a new chiropractor or somebody that's been in practice, but in a lot of cases, it's actually exactly the same. And what it really comes down to and what my passion is right now at this stage of my life. And I only have 10 clients that I'm taking because I'm enjoying this stage of my life. I've got 4 daughters, 21 to 13. So I've got 3 of them are teenagers. It's just like, it's at this stage of my life. It's just kind of nice to kind of pause a little bit. But what I find when I get on the phone with a doctor or a student, it's really about where are you right now. So if somebody that's in practice, it's where are you right now as far as stats, as far as satisfaction, as far as happiness, and where are you trying to get to? And then laying out the plan of how to do that and holding them accountable to it seems to be the best thing in the whole wide world. Cause that's what I needed when I was starting this office right here back in 2004, is that I was busy all the time, but I didn't have a commitment to go do what I needed to do. And I didn't have anybody at the time following me up and saying, are you doing these things? But then when I finally got that coach that did that for me, you know, it held me accountable and it made me go do the things that I was supposed to do. And then I started getting confidence that I'm like, oh gosh, this stuff actually works if I go do it. And so really that's what I'm trying. I want chiropractors to be successful because I think I don't think. I know there needs to be more of us. And I know we need to be successful because we don't need chiropractors that fall away from chiropractic doing other stuff, whatever that other stuff is in your definition, going to do weird stuff, to go do stuff that's not chiropractic. And I'm not this like straight and mixer battle. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I'm talking about chiropractors that can speak the principle of chiropractic. We need those chiropractors having a massive platform and getting lots of people to hear them speak about it, but also keep doing it for decades, because that's what we need, because we need to be able to attract more students to the chiropractic schools, more patients that get behind us so we can influence states and politicians and schools and you name it. And that's what I feel like is lost in chiropractic, because if a chiropractor is not successful or they fall out of love of chiropractic, then then it's just a transactional job. And if it starts to go downhill, they're looking for an easier way to make money, to work less, to take more vacations. And they get lazy on preaching or speaking the principle of chiropractic out there. And we need more chiropractors doing that, not less.
My summary: the world doesn't need more bartenders.
No, it was fun though. It was fun. I was 24, and 25, so it was fun.
But the world doesn't need more bartenders.
Yeah, we got other people that can do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing about chiropractic. I've been posting some controversial things lately about laser.
I saw you post the laser thing, just driving people crazy.
Oh, dude, like, because what I stand for is principled chiropractic.
Yeah.
But I came in with an injury. I hurt C6, C7 disc, and I had an arm injury that wasn't getting better. I was doing all the chiropractic things. And you know what helped me? Stem cell and laser. Mm-hmm. So when people want to come at me because I may have lost my way because I believe that other things help heal the body, like, I'm sorry, man. I went to the chiropractor 3 times a week, for a few months trying to get my arm to do better, and it didn't. And I come from the chiropractic biophysics family. Like, I know what it takes to get somebody's disc better. I worked in a clinic for 6 years. I'm not some noob. So when I say, hey, I like laser, get off my back, bro. Like, I like laser, and sometimes we do need an outside-in perspective. Yeah. And sometimes we do need to team up with MDs. Sometimes we do need to team up with other medical providers, just as long as we keep the core what it is. Mm-hmm. And we have to keep chiropractic pure and unsullied, and we have to keep it real. Otherwise, somebody else will come in and steal it, and they will come in and take the schools over and water it down and stop teaching subluxation-based chiropractic and take out, the philosophy of chiropractic out of these schools. So when I come beating a drum and I open up 700 interviews about chiropractic, I have not lost my way. I am 100% still in the driver's seat, but I do think that it's okay to have other interests. There's chiropractors out there that post about their cars. They post about their horses. They post about their boats. Is that not cool? Can we not go in a direction to say what we appreciate?
Right.
Anyways, enough said on that.
Let's go. I'll actually extend that though. So it's, it's fascinating because I used to be those chiropractor that would be like all, straight. It's all straight. And then, you got people in our groups that are doing, things like shockwave and lasers and decompression or whatever else it is. It's like, and so in my mindset has really changed. And I'm doing, I just did the ACP class down at Sherman. Now I'm doing the DACP, the Diplomate down there for Philosophy Academy of Chiropractic Philosophers. It's amazing.
That's
Dr.
awesome.
Deck and Dr. Dooley, those guys are just freaking, that school has just been, it's my alma mater, even though I graduated from Palmer, because I love Sherman,
I do too.
But what's kind of funny is that just down there hearing a different set of philosophy. It's weird that you would say this, but it's a different set of philosophy than what it is up in the Midwest. And the one thing that I'm getting and gathering out of this thing is like, listen, we always come back to the limitations of matter of the body. And I would have always hated all those all those mixer things, all the laser stuff and everything like that. I think where I'm landing on it now is that if you use those things in your office, and this is probably not going to be controversial, but maybe it will. If you use those things in your office, fine, whatever, but don't let that deter the fact that you've got to preach principled chiropractic. Because if you all of a sudden start to become a symptomatic based chasing chiropractor, now we've lost another person that talks about chiropractic at its core. And that's what I fight for, is I want to make sure that the chiropractors keep preaching the principle of chiropractic over and over again.
So I can appreciate that to the core, man. Like, I think that what you're saying there is super necessary for people to hear. Because I'm the greatest chiropractic advocate that walks planet Earth right now.
Yeah.
But I knew that I wasn't getting better.
Right.
And you know what it started doing to me? I started to lose my self-esteem.
Oh, yeah.
I started to lose my self-confidence. I started to feel like I wasn't ever going to get better. So when you have cases like mine and somebody, you can teach them the way for 16 years, 16 years, and they can know the principle, they can love the profession, but if they're not getting better, they got to go find other ways to improve. And I tell you what, man, limitations matter is real. I'm a proven candidate for that. And if we're not getting better, we have to go find ways to start healing.
Yep.
And I think that that's the biggest thing, is I never went the other medical route.
Yeah.
I stayed within like the guidelines of integrated chiropractic, which some people might think that that's blasphemy, but you know what? I'm back and I'm better and I'm stronger than I've ever been before right now.
Right.
And it's all because I didn't give up on myself. And I still use chiropractic along the journey too. You know, like Eric Plasker taught me, you know, chiropractic first, chiropractic second, chiropractic third, chiropractic fourth, chiropractic fifth, chiropractic and intervention sixth, chiropractic and drugs seventh, chiropractic and surgery eighth, but always chiropractic. He's like, it doesn't matter what they're going through along that journey. Just make sure that you don't stop doing chiropractic. A lot of times when people get into a situation where they need intervention, they stop chiropractic and they go that route and they don't improve.
So good.
So I think people always have to keep the adjustment at the core of whatever's happening with that person. And that's what I did too. So kudos to everybody that helped me along that journey. I love and appreciate all of you. And anybody that thinks that I've lost my way, I have not. Mentors. Who are some of the people that helped build you up to where you are today?
Gosh, you know, CJ Mertz was crucial at the beginning. Dr. Sonia Young, Dr. Ben Lerner, Greg Lohman, Chuck Majors. Do you remember Chuck? Mm-hmm. He's one of my best friends until he passed away, and still one of my best friends. But that guy, side by side as a friend, but also as a colleague, taught me so much about chiropractic. Now, currently in this stage, Dooley and Deccan and the staff, the faculty down at Sherman's doing phenomenal with me right now. I went through a period here where it's a lot of Green Books, a lot of Strauss. Strauss is definitely been just really kind of chiming with me, and of course Reggie Sigafus. Those are my people right there. Like Reggie is probably my top, because I love how simple he made it, how complex he made it at the same time, but also talked about function, because I think this is a piece that we fall into, that we fall a little bit short when chiropractors start talking about health. I think it's so much more than health. I think function is bigger than health. Health is a portion of function, but when you start talking about function is not just about do I not get colds and sicknesses or aches and pains. It's really, the function is about, am I a better dad? Am I a better brother? Am I a better human being? Am I making better choices, decisions? Am I focused better? Am I vibrating at a higher level? Am I able to do the things that God created me to do here on this planet? When I'm clear, subluxation free, I know that my function's at the highest level and I'm the best version of what I was created to be. So that's where I love Reggie coming in there, is that it's all about that function aspect of it. I think that's just amazing.
Two more questions. By the way, I love that you're there at Sherman, and I love the fact that you've gotten mentorship from a wide variety of people. You made friends through it. You made relationships through it. And now you can look at, I was speaking this past week and I said, if you guys really want to understand chiropractic, all you guys in the seats right there, go YouTube Reggie Gold Chemistry of Life. Mm-hmm. I was like, just go do it. Mm-hmm. Thank me later. And I think that all people need some influence from Reggie. I've never done a Strauss book, but I've heard great things about Strauss. And, there's so much going on out there at Sherman. Actually, I have two colleges that sponsor our show. One is Sherman, the other is Life West. So I've asked other colleges before too. I might be just a little too edgy for some of them, but they haven't supported me yet. So if you guys are out there and you got connections with the chiropractic college that wants to get on the Chiro Hustle sponsorship train, let me know. I never really plug stuff like that either, so it's really interesting that I'm doing that.
That's great.
Let's close out with the miracle story.
Yeah.
Tell me something that's happened in your career that like really anchors it down for you, that makes you want to stick with this for the rest of your life.
So back in 2005, in this office, we were a year old, had this girl that was in my networking group. Her name was Beth, and her husband was military, out of country, came back, and the son was 4 years old. His name was Timmy. And Timmy had this problem that was called an autoimmune disease called HSP. Basically what was happening is the blood was eating away at the joints of every single part of his body. So if you have little kids, one of the greatest things is when you come home at night and the kid jumps in your arms, you get a chance to hug this kid. They couldn't hug this kid. This is how much pain he was in. And the mom was telling me this. She's like, listen, there's nothing we can do to help him. We went uptown to the hospitals here, Central, and they did $200,000 worth of testing. And think about that. That's like 2005. So that's like 2 billion now. So whatever. And so so they did $200,000 worth of testing. At the end of the day, they said, hey, we think he's got about 3 to 6 months to live. Give him these steroids. We're going to help. That's going to help for the pain, but we're going to watch him. And I'd start making arrangements, basically is what the doctor said. And so, of course, as a parent, you're like, F no, like I'm not stopping there. That's not the diagnosis I'm going to accept. So they end up at Duke University, because we're in North Carolina. You know, you go to a fancy hospital. If you have a major medical issue, you go up to Duke. So they go to Duke University hospitals. And Duke says, hey, Blue Cross Blue Shield doesn't want to pay for duplicate testing, so we need you to come up with about $100,000 out of pocket. And so they sell things, they raise money, do whatever they had to do back then. I don't think it was GoFundMe back then, but they did whatever, crowd sourcing. And so they raised $100,000 and do all the testing. The doctor comes in the room and he says the exact same thing. Your son's got HSP, blood-borne autoimmune disease. Nothing we can do for him. We think he's got about 3 months left to live. So here's this family completely devastated, completely bankrupt. Marriage is falling apart. Dad's been in Kuwait or wherever he was. They're trying to start a business. Like you just imagine this. And I said, just come to the office. The x-rays are $40. So he comes to the office. We take the picture of the spine, and we're the 45 degrees in there. He's 0 degrees. Actually, I show this every night on my doctor report. I just showed it to the people that were in my doctor report tonight, and 0 degree curvature in there. And I said, we need to start adjusting him right away. So we started adjusting right away through the weekend into the next week. How I remember it is his rash started clearing up within a week. And within like 2 or 3 weeks, he was off all of his steroids and never looked back, never had another issue. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I get an email from the dad. I hadn't heard from them in like 18 years or something like that. 18 years at least. And dad sends me an email. He goes, hey, I don't know if you remember who I am. I'm blank. And I just wanted to let you know that you saved our son's life. And he went through the whole story. And I'm like, you don't understand. I tell this story 2 to 3 times a week for the last 18 years. And he said at the bottom of the thing, he goes, and I remember after that first adjustment, our son, his body clearing up within 24 hours and never had another issue again in his life. So I remember it as it took weeks. In dad's mind and mom's mind, they're like, yeah, it was gone. The problem was gone in 24 hours. We spent $300,000 on all these medical visits, and here with 2, 3, 4 adjustments, his body's cleared up in a short amount of time. The kid's now fully functional, went through college, never had another issue, autoimmune issue, never again. He's like he's a clothes designer and living his best life now. He's super successful. He's massive on Instagram. And so I love that from a standpoint of, the miracle is not just that the kid healed. The miracle is that the kid was able to reach full potential. and he's living his life at his best. And that's what chiropractic gives. It's not chiropractic doesn't just save his autoimmune disease and keep him alive. No, chiropractic allowed his body to do what it was supposed to do, healed what it needed to heal, but allowed him to have the function in the life and the expression that God put him down here for the rest of his life. So I love miracle stories like that. It's not so much about the aches and pains going away. It's about the ability to be able to express to your fullest potential that you possibly can.
You know what the best part for me is? I get to summarize all this stuff. And it's the power that made the body heals the body. The body needs nothing extra in it. It simply needs no interference. And I just, once again, I'm going to go back to something that Les Brown told me. I interviewed him on the show. He said, the reason I love chiropractic is because it doesn't cut it out, drug it out, or burn it out. And I think that that's a great way to end today's interview. And I appreciate you being on with me, episode 677. I do give you the opportunity, though. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to share with our audience today?
Nah, man, I think it's great. Everything that we talked about is great. If any of you guys want to grab onto you're going to put my link out for my newsletter. I have a newsletter that I send out every week. It's typically practice tips about like something you can take and train your team with. It's something you can do for your practice, something for new patients, something for principal. There's always something good that somebody should just have on a regular basis. I also doing discovery calls as well. He'll put a link out for that. If you want to just get on the phone with me and see what I can do to help you out from a coaching standpoint. Like I said, I'm only taking 10 clients. I'm almost there. So I only have a few spots, but if you're interested, if you want to get on the phone with me, let's do a discovery call. And I can at least point you in the direction. I had somebody on the phone last week and I said, hey, look, we're not a good fit for me to coach you, but here's what I think you should do. And that's where I think my gifting is right now, because I have been in it for 25 years and I am that Chiro slut. And I kind of know what the personalities are of different coaching groups and different organizations, everything like that. I feel like it can help people get put on the right pathway if it's not with me.
Well, I will post that link here underneath this interview so people can reach out and get that discovery call set up with you. Dr. Marc, thanks for being our guest today on Chiro Hustle Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jim. Appreciate you, man.
You know, I had so much fun today. We blew this thing out of the water, and I'm just going to close out like I always do. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. See you, Doc. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.